If a potential client emailed you right now asking what your website package includes, would you be able to confidently send a link or would you immediately start panic typing, trying to recall from memory what you offer? Welcome to Designers Building Real Businesses. I'm Jessica, and I've spent the last 10 years as an entrepreneur with a focus on brand and web design. And now I teach creatives like you how to turn your design skills into real income. When I first started designing websites, I did not have a defined package of any kind. All I had was like a loose idea of what I could offer. And what ended up happening was way too many back and forth emails about what my clients needed and then squeezing in all these extras at no additional charge. And I had no real control over the project. And here's the part that most designers don't realize until it's already all a mess. Without a clearly defined website package outline for the client, they end up deciding the scope, they decide what's included, and they decide how much access to your time and talent they get. And that's why so many new designers end up doing way more work than they priced for, and they feel weird about sending extra invoices, and they're constantly second guessing whether they're charging too much or not enough. So in this episode, I'm breaking down exactly how to set boundaries like a pro, what to include in your website packages, and how having a website package changes the way that clients see you, trust you, and pay you. So if you've ever felt awkward about explaining your services or stressed out about scope creep or felt stuck undercharging, this one is for you. So before we dive into the details, we need to determine what level designer you actually are. This is going to help you feel more confident about what you should be including in your packages. And your package price should reflect the value of your offer. If you're not sure yet how to really price your services or your packages, I do have a free guide and I will link that in the description. So just click that link and I will send it to you for free. All right, so let's get started with the web design packages. So I have broken this into 3 tiers based on experience. So we're going to start with the beginner. As a beginner, your basic website package should always include a client questionnaire. This is a non-negotiable. This is going to help you seamlessly gather all the information that you need for your web design project without 1,000 back and forth emails with your client. Okay, so if you want an exact list of website questions to ask your client, or a copy of the actual Honeybook questionnaire template that I use, I will also leave those in the description down below. All right, the next thing you should be including in your website package as a beginner is the website strategy. This is also a non-negotiable. So if you're not sure what that is, I would definitely recommend doing some research into what the website strategy should include. So this will be things like the purpose of the website, the target audience, right? Because everyone's website is not for everybody. Everybody's website isn't for e-commerce. So there needs to be some kind of strategy to establish the purpose of the website that's being built. I do also include the website strategy questions as part of that questionnaire if you do end up grabbing that. The next thing that you want to include is obviously the custom website design itself. Now, I do recommend, whether you're an expert or a beginner at any stage, using a no-code website building platform. Coding can be great to do a lot of custom things, but there are no-code platforms that allow you to design just, endlessly. With a beginner's package, I recommend starting with 3 main pages. Usually that will include the home page, the about page, and the services page. Okay. I always include a standard contact page because that's just kind of obvious. Like, how do you get a hold of this business? Alternatively, if you are familiar with how to use page anchors, you could also do a 1-page infinite scroll with different sections for the services and the about and the contact, etc. The next thing you want to include is stock photo sourcing. So you should be able to source and find on-brand stock photos that you can add to this professional looking website that you're building for your client. Now, that is if your client doesn't have professional brand photos that they can provide you, or sometimes you just need stock photos as a filler image. But I do have a blog post on my favorite stock photo websites, and I'll link that for you down below as well. All right, and then wrapping up the beginner package, you should be able to include the favicon, which is your browser tab logo for the business. And then, of course, to finish things off, you are going to transfer the website to the new owner. All right, now moving on to our intermediate designers. You should be able to include everything from the beginner package plus 2 additional web pages designed. Okay, so this is going to be a total of 5 main pages. And one of these pages could be a blog if they do want a blog. We need to also include any third-party integrations into an intermediate website package. And this could look like their booking software, a rewards style program, anything like that that is not already included in the basic website pages, anything that you need to download from a third party or maybe an app of some kind. You can integrate that into an intermediate website package as well. And then the last thing that I would include is the connection of the domain. This is something that I taught myself in the beginning stages of being a designer, but it's good to know how to connect the domain because a lot of the time when you transfer the website to the client, they do not know how to do this and they will ask for your help anyway. So it's good to learn if you can in the beginning stages, but as an intermediate designer, you should be able to do this for your client, okay? A lot of the time, your no-code website builders like Wix or Squarespace, for example, are going to have the option where you can connect the domain and set the domain up within that platform. But a lot of the time, the clients already have purchased their domain elsewhere from like Google Domains or GoDaddy or something like that. So that obviously is going to require you going outside of the platform to make sure that those settings are set up properly so that the domain is connected and the site can go live. All right, last we are moving on to our experienced designers. You should be able to include everything from the beginner package and the intermediate package. Plus, I would recommend including image resizing and SEO renaming. This is going to ensure that all of the images on the site are clean, optimized, and they aren't going to slow down the website. Another thing I would include if you are an experienced designer and you're going to be charging more for your packages is adding in a basic on-page SEO title and descriptions for the client's site so that they're able to start getting found on search engines. Now, no, you do not need to be an SEO expert, but if you're not offering a basic SEO setup, I do have a simplified step-by-step guide that I'll link in the description to help you add value to your design package so you can charge more. All right, the last couple things here that I like to include as an experienced designer in my website package is a website tutorial walkthrough video. So this is at the very end after all the design, of course. But this is going to be a recorded walkthrough video showing the client how to use and manage their site once you pass it off to them. All right, and then the last thing that I like to include in the experienced web design package is social share graphics. Okay, so these are basically just branded device mockups of the site that you just designed for your client so that they can share their new website with their audience. So this is going to get them really excited. They're sharing their brand new site, and it also helps to spread your name as the designer. Moving on, we're going to talk about some optional add-ons that you can offer your client to help increase the package value. Additional website pages can be added as an add-on if they need more pages than what's included in your basic package. Okay, and the price is going to vary depending on what level designer you are and what inclusions come with each web page. For example, if you are a beginner designer, you may have a pretty basic outline for each page. It probably won't be including SEO or image resizing and SEO renaming. So just all these different things are going to make up your web pages and how much you should be charging as an add-on for that. And on the same topic of additional website pages, we have landing page designs. Okay, so this is anything like a coming soon page or an email opt-in download page that you can add to the package depending on their needs. All right, we also have an online store setup. Capping this off with a max number of products included with the store setup, depending on your level of expertise. Now, I would recommend intermediate to experienced designers add on the online store option only because it can be pretty extensive. There's a lot of setup that does go into that. But if you want to specialize in e-commerce or online stores, even as a beginner, then, dive right in and start learning all the back end setup that goes into that. Another thing that I like to include as an add-on option in my website packages is done for you blog posts. So the blog posts, if your client opted for a blog page design, the blog posts written out are going to be extra. This is going to help with SEO and them being found on search engines. But if you are putting in the work and the time to write out these blog posts, then that will be an additional charge to your client. If you want my exact behind the scenes process for web design project, I will link my course down in the description. It's called Signature Systems, and it's basically a step-by-step rundown of everything that I do from discovery call to offboarding, so you don't have to guess at any step in the process. All right, well, that's it for what to include in your website design package, no matter what level designer you are. If this helped things finally click and save you from some confusion, do me a favor and like and share this with another designer who's still winging it. Subscribe if you're on YouTube or follow if you're listening to the podcast so you don't miss what's next. And if you want more straight up, actually useful content like this, make sure you're on my VIP email list where I go deeper and share things I don't always say out loud on here. See you in the next one.